The Square Ball Podcast.
Welcome to the show. It's brought to you with Levi Solicitors, who will give you a 10% discount on your legal fees at levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. My name's Dan. Hello. I've got Michael with me and Moscow White as well. Daniel Chapman. Here we pick the week's heroes and villains then. The scores, we've got those from our TSB Plus members from the Arsenal game. Man of the match, Brendan Aronson. Will he feature in Hero of the Week, Michael?
He does get some mentions. A lot of Leeds players are heroes this week, and only a couple of villains. We'll
mention some of the scores as we go. You don't need to hear them all. We are tracking these across the season. Player of the year, we'll update that as well in just a minute or two. Jesse got 6.8 out of 10. Decent-ish score. I thought I might have scored a bit higher than that.
Didn't win, did we?
This is true.
0 points. He's a bit like Pat Bamford, I think, this week, in that his average score relates to the fact that he did a lot of good stuff, but not the bit he needed.
He also had the opportunity to be scored. I apologise again to anyone who was wondering.
Did you forget Bamford?
I didn't think so, because I have to add the substitutions onto the form that people go to rate them, that our TSB Plus members can interact with as they happen, because I don't know who that idiot's going to bring on, do I? Could be anybody. He's got 10, 15 players to choose from.
Too many.
And I was pretty sure I'd put Pat Bamford on, but only realised later that didn't. So we rated him separately.
Mm-hmm. We'll get to all the various nominations as we go. The various scores. Sorry, Ken Bates Villain of the Week award first. Nominations. So we've got a few. Arteta features Rodrigo and Bamford as a pair. A few people nominated together. Rodrigo himself solo. Same with Bamford. The electricity people get a nod. Gabriel, Jesse himself, Martinelli, Arsenal, and VAR get a few too. So any that you want to jump on there?
Gabriel was really annoying, wasn't he? So maybe him. He gets my vote. End of thing. End of section. No, we didn't probably talk about how annoying he was, because he was really, really getting in Bamford's face at the penalty as well. Just would not leave him alone, to the extent where you think that's
chirping in his ear all the way down.
That's the referee's job as well, isn't it? To go, just fuck off, eh?
You'd think so. Is that the exact thing that what they're taught on the training courses?
Mate, fuck off.
Just tell them, if you're in this situation, tell the player to fuck off. I was impressed as well with, it's a shame that it has to be necessary, but Pascal Struijk guarding the penalty spot from Granit Xhaka, who went with the intention of kicking it to rough it up, and Struijk had to go and stand there. I think the referee at one point was like, you need to move away. And it's like, well, I can't, because he's going to come and start kicking it. So it's such a bunch of absolute babies. Well, they're all millionaires.
Speaking of that, as Ender's mentioned, saying Gabriel jumped forward to head it and missed. This is the disallowed goal. Like an unsteady toddler trying to head a balloon thrown by his soon-to-be disappointed father. Get him in the fucking bin.
Yeah, I mean, the disallowed goal was penalised essentially for Gabriel's lack of strength.
Yeah.
And he will be a very strong person.
Yeah, looks big, doesn't he?
Yeah, you don't do all the exercise that a professional footballer does and be that piss weak. But it's the same with why it's all a bit mixed up as well, with Bamford then floundering around when Gabriel kicked out at him at the end. Like, there's absolutely no reason, and you could see by the fact he got up straight away that there was no reason for him to go down like that, apart from to send the message to the referee, that man has kicked me, so I have to throw myself in the air so that you see it. And then I guess, I don't know if this comes up in the villain nominations for Bamford, but when he was through and he got pulled back, go down. It's cheating, and I don't want him to be... Well, it's not cheating. It's only cheating because referees don't see that stuff and penalise it. If you are running through on goal and you get pulled back and you choose to keep going and have a shot, you should get the free kick.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to...
Still a foul.
You shouldn't have to pretend to go down or throw yourself in the air so that the referee... But then we're dealing with a referee who, for everything that he had on the day with the electricity people and all the stuff that was ruining his life, didn't give anything for the handball when... Saliba, was it Saliba who caught it?
Yes, I think so.
Just caught it in the 6-yard box. It's like, well, I think we'd better play on here. Just so expecting him to be able to spot when a shirt is being tugged as a player's running through. They've given up since VAR came in. Stop looking.
I was going to say, it's interesting that you say about, you've got to go down to get the free kick. if only there was a system where they could look at something again, so you could stay on your feet and try your best, but then if someone watching a video feed could go, it looks like he's been pulled back there.
Yeah, so play the advantage in real time, and if the advantage is then taken away from you.
If only such a thing existed.
Yeah, they should develop that. They should think about that. You're right, actually. Bamford gets mentioned here in the villainy nominations, which feels a bit mean because he contributed a hell of a lot. But I think James perhaps sums it up best, and Bamford did score 6.46 out of 10. I say it might have been a bit higher than that. James is more concerned than annoyed. Is he actually okay? He's looked pale and weak ever since he came back. Someone needs to give him some red meat and a hug.
He gets flustered, does Bamford, doesn't he? And I think he's a flustered Pat Bamford with his hair all crazy all over the place. It can look a little bit desperate when it's not going for him.
So what's great with the incident at the end was, and I hate it, but I also love it because it makes me laugh, is when after he'd gone down and then he got up to yell at me, then turned around and was like, right, I'm telling the teacher. Look around, where's the referee? Have you seen what he's done? And I love it when he goes running off to tell the teacher. It's so funny. He's not even back yet. I think that's the thing. People are writing him off. He's finished. He's never going to do anything. He's played. How long did he play at Palace? Did he play at Palace?
He did. He played the first half. He missed that good chance.
Yeah, and then a half against Arsenal, and he's still. I know it's a drag that it's taking so long to get him fully up and running again, but people are kind of judging him before he is actually back. This is all part of the process.
You know what they could have done to avoid that judgment? Do you know what they could have done?
Don't say it.
I'm not going to say it. You know what I'm thinking, though.
I know what I'm thinking. I mean, Jason has said, actually, about Bamford can't cling on to this rusty tag forever.
But it's only been a couple of weeks.
But it's been like 18 months, I think, is the thing.
Well, yeah, exactly. So it takes a long time to come back. And I think the trade-off, and it is annoying that it's taking so long, but a player with his record in the Premier League, recent record before he got injured, is a player that you want. And so it's all about signing a replacement as well. But there's not many players around who have scored as many goals as he has in a season in the Premier League. So he has a great value to this team that is worth just a little bit of patience.
He also got absolutely hammered by COVID as well, didn't he? Towards the back end of the season, while simultaneously being a new dad, which, you know, it's hard work, isn't it?
He's got shoes to sell, isn't he? And so he's
saving the planet with his shoes as well. So he's busy helping Greta out. But you've had kids, Michael, and obviously you had twin boys. The early years, the early months, it's hard, especially with twins.
It's full survival mode. Well, it genuinely is, because I mean, I'm sure it's possibly a different setup. If you've got like a lot of money, you can probably accommodate some staff or something. I don't know if they have, though, in fairness. If you're trying to do it yourself, though, yeah, it's really fucking hard, isn't it?
Sometimes you slot in the view of a professional when you get one in that interview. Well, not really an interview, but that video when the Arsenal Fans TV people found Jermaine Beckford and told him what they thought. The one bit that Beckford got out where he was like, Bamford was brilliant today. It takes one to know one, and like Beckford knows. And so I would take that from him. Goals will come.
Yes.
For a bit, and then it'll stop again, and we'll all be angry.
You mentioned the electricity people in there. Are we blaming Northern Power Grid for this? It's hard to know exactly where this responsibility lies, because it seemed to be a power surge that they dealt with pretty quick, but it was the VAR that got knocked out, wasn't it? I mean, Northern Power Grid seemed to do their bit pretty quick. I mean, they got rated 2.76 out of 10 by our TSB Plus members. It was good that you added that onto the sheet, Moscow.
Yeah, I didn't put Bamford on, but I did have the presence of mind to give people the opportunity to rate the national grid.
So I think the 2.76 is high, I would say.
I think some people, it depends how you interpret the question. It's like whether you wanted the game to be sort of stopped and not played, in which case, cracking. It was fairly... I mean, the actual power cut, you're right, the lights flickered and everything came back on. It was the need to recalibrate VAR and all that kind of stuff that seemed to be the big problem. And I guess it's a little bit, we got an insight into what they must have to do before every game. I wonder if somebody has to go out there before every match and put a ball through the posts. And
too busy doing that and not thinking about actually being a good ref, aren't they? I mean, Benjamin Franklin gets folded into this by Zach, who's well annoyed. It feels a bit unfair, having not met him, but Benjamin Franklin, this twat, discovers something as unreliable and fluky as electricity and then gets slapped on the $100 US $100 bill. Discover something useful like trees, prick.
Who did discover trees?
I think they've just been there for a while, haven't
It's
they?
the John Tree, wasn't it?
Absolutely correct. Rodrigo obviously gets mentions in this for his wild,
It's a lot of mentions. Let's be honest, an awful lot of mentions.
crossfield ball. Does it bear repeating? We understand. I mean, there's lots of swear words. There's lots of character assassination here.
We know all about it, don't we? Rodrigo is nominated as villain for all the reasons that you think he's been nominated as villain.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, do we fully pile in, or we just go, look, we're all angry. Okay, it's not worked. That pass was something else.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Against logic and expectation of teammates on the pitch, says Wisconsin Todd, among other stuff about it being absurdist performance art and avant-garde things that are really above my intellectual level. It goes on a while.
Let's go instead. Let's go in on Arteta, because I'm glad that Baggy and James Weller and Boney M and Frustrate from Doncaster Boney M don't mention it. Him and in fact, James doesn't either. But 2 out of the 4 stay in your technical area and shut your mouth. I was watching him a bit. It's petty. It's one for the book of petty grievances.
We need to resurrect that, by the way.
He is always just about a foot outside of his technical area. And I think however big his technical area was, he could have miles to roam, and he would just go and stand a foot outside it. And he'd be going and just talking to his players constantly. And there was one bit where Ben White went take a throw in, and he gives him the ball, and while he's there, he's telling him all this stuff.
Get out an iPad.
Absolutely no way Ben White was taking in any of it. And I don't think any of the players, it's this kind of weird micromanaging where as a throw-in's about to be taken, for example, Arteta is outside of his technical area, almost with a foot on the pitch, going like, you need to stand there, you need to move over there, you go over there, you move over there. And I think in 5 seconds, as soon as the throw-in's taken, all that goes away. But he's saying, well, you have to do all this. And as the players, you must get sick of him. At least with the old Neil Warnock stuff, it wouldn't be micromanagement. It would be this belligerent knobhead in the dugout going, Brownie, run. Fine. But when you've got somebody going like, no, 2 steps that way. No, 2 steps back the other way. No, you need to go over there. No, you mark it. And players don't need that. The Premier League footballers,
you're exasperated, aren't you?
Premier League footballers know what they're doing. And I pity them. And I think best thing, I know they're top of the league. Think how much better they would be without that pillock micromanaging them.
Can I just ask about his hair? Because you were talking about your strong hair earlier, Moscow.
Yeah.
Boney Emma said that Arteta says, I just don't like the Lego head fuckwit. You've got quite Lego-y hair.
Yeah, me and John Lukic. I think, he's very tight with it though, isn't he? Whereas,
sorry, James also
I've got a bit more bounce.
James has also picked out his hairline and said he dresses like he should work in a call centre, which I quite like. You can imagine walking around with a headset on, can't you? In fact, he might want a headset.
Oh, that'd be next thing. And he'd have little earpieces in each one of his players.
Yeah.
He would.
They do that in the gridiron, don't they? The NFL. They can talk to the players, I think.
Between plays, it would be like in a game of gridiron, going, don't run into him, run into the other one, go in that way, leave them alone, is what I'm saying, Mikko.
Yeah, we had some other nominations. Martinelli gets picked out by a couple of people just for general annoyances, time wasting, and so on and so forth.
Jelly also nominates Arsenal as a whole for employing someone in central midfield. We'll go skip past that.
LeviSolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. Do they do libel and slander? Are we slandering?
We didn't do anything.
No, we didn't do. I'm just saying, but if you needed to speak to, I'm sure they could advise appropriately. But yeah, Arsenal for that. And VAR gets obviously the customary nominations, because why not? Because it's football and it happens every week. And it's tiresome.
It was shit, though.
And we had to wait half an hour for it as well. We don't normally have to have that full boot up process.
Did you
BIOS?
Did you hear what we said on propaganda about fixing it? Like, Michael advocated doing it like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire style.
Oh, yeah.
Where we give 100 people keypads and they've got 30 seconds to decide what the outcome is.
Well, it was...
wisdom of crowds, Moscow.
It was sort of interesting because I heard... I listened to the Phil Hay show as well, I think, where he was saying... that the goal was one of those where if it was given your way, you'd be happy with it and like you wouldn't expect it to go the other way. But then you had the clip of all the Arsenal fans going, "Oh, that should have been a goal." And I think so that you'd expect if you put VAR into the hands of football fans, it would just go along tribal lines, but I think it's sort of amazingly, it was Arsenal Fans TV coming up with the most reasonable assessment, where it's like, and it was the same, we've had it as well with some offsides that are against us, where it's kind of like, just give them the goal. Don't keep
Don't
us
draw a
hanging
line.
on for 5 minutes
fine.
and draw a line. Just let them have the goal, and then we'll try and score 2, and that'll be a much more entertaining
We'd rather
afternoon.
just get on with playing the sport.
And it was funny listening to the Arsenal fans coming up with that. They were just like, yeah, that should be a goal. And I think we would all be happier. We'd get more out of it. It's like, yeah, give them a goal and then we'll try and score 2. And that's a more entertaining day out at the football than hanging around while somebody draws some pixels on the computer screen miles away.
And as we covered, if it was given as a goal, it probably would have stayed as a goal. Because it would have gone with the on-field decision, which... So why is it there?
Do you know what this is? This is a clear and obvious pile of boring shit. Who's your villain of the week?
Rodrigo.
I suppose it probably has to be, doesn't
We
it?
lost the whole game because of him. It's there's no getting around it. Other things happened in the match, but that was the big thing that
He was the low
problems.
scorer as well with 3.53 out of 10.
Although we
which is
got a lot better when Bamford came on, and he might not have come on as quickly had Rodrigo not done that pass and then completely fallen apart.
So are you suggesting it was a good thing that we went behind so we could chase the... Let's move on to the Gaetano Berardi Hero of the Week awards. Then someone who's done good by us this time. An update on the Player of the Year, by the way. We fed all the scores into the supercomputer that we get sent in, and our Hero of the Year, our Player of the Year, Melier still top 3.
Had to upgrade the spreadsheet this week.
Oh, has it gone down to three decimal places out of 10?
It's gone.
Because we asked for a score, but we obviously average it all out.
So yeah, Melier's average for the year 7.113. Aronson 7.112.
Oh, that's absolutely agonisingly, excitingly close. And then Tyler Adams is
miles behind,
third with 7.063. Jesse Marsh not on the sheet, but we'll update it. He was hovering around somewhere around the 6 mark, wasn't he? Anyway,
5.77.
5.77
is his average now. Yes,
out of 10 for the season. 5 point. I'll put that on the sheet. There we go. Full listings, by the way. We'll be tracking this across the course of the season in the mag. So have a look at that. Right. What do we want to talk about in terms of heroes? Bamford gets hero nominations. Rasmus, Aronson, Strauch, Koch, Jesse himself, Sinistera, Adams, and then that's it pretty much. Apart from that, Anthony Taylor gets a mention, the referee, for breaking the rules and sending Jurgen Klopp off, although he's now not been banned, has he?
Not automatically, no. And did you see what he did? Basically, the linesman was running past him and he leant into him and screamed at him as he was trying to just do his job.
Was it a worse crime than Jesse's?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Because Jesse was mainly bothering a fourth official, wasn't he?
And Jesse, I don't know if this is one of the reasons why he's been nominated. Does it get mentioned? No, but it should, because he was calm.
Yep.
He was calm.
There was a lot in that game to test him. And I mentioned it on the match ball that it was conspicuous during the sending off, then not sending off at the end, that he was just kind of standing, waiting, and watching it back. I noticed he was telling Junior Firpo not to shout at the ref while he was watching VAR, and he was like, look, shh, everybody, let him do his job.
Actually,
and let's all pretend we don't mind.
At the start, when they were having problems right at the very start with the referee's equipment and all that, when he first walked over, I wasn't quite sure what was going on, and I hadn't spotted about the whole power cut. I hadn't joined the dots yet, and I thought, because he went and spoke to Marsh, didn't he? First I thought, oh God, what's he done?
Because he comes straight out. You bunch of wankers.
Straight off after a minute. And Mick Sheffrey gets a mention for getting sacked by Doncaster and making you happy, Moscow. So loads of positive Leeds nominations for Hero of the Week this week.
Marsh does get one nomination from Jelly, saying not for brilliant coaching, but for picking Harrison, Sinister, Aronson, and thinking, fuck it, I'll pick their position for the game out of a hat. Oh, they're all in the wrong position. Let's just go with it. 4D chess stuff.
Love it.
So it's a bit of cynicism still, but yeah, Jackie as a 10 didn't work. I didn't think particularly.
But we were playing well with him there.
Yeah, I suppose it was overall it was fine, but I don't think he excelled there particularly.
What didn't work about it was that we didn't have a 9. Was because Rodrigo kept dropping so deep, and Rodrigo was doing some... The best thing I can remember Rodrigo doing was... there were 2 good things. There was one really good chest pass that went out wide to Aronson that set us on the attack, but that's the one where he then just stood on halfway and watched. And there was another one where he drove into the box, but he was never there as a 9. So Jackie, looking for somebody to pass to, can't do it. You'd have to turn around and look for him, whereas it would have been interesting perhaps to see Haradonna still being there with Bamford in front of him.
I think that the thing with Bamford being on, I do think it drives the whole team further forward because Bamford actually is the furthest player forward. So therefore everyone else pushes forward to cross the ball or pass the ball to him.
Yeah.
Whereas Rodrigo, when he's dropping deep, you look ahead of you and you're like, well, nothing out wide, nothing up front. What do we do?
Well, the two,
And you can play those passes to him as well that are beyond the last defender. And as he runs after them, everybody else can run after him. So it just brings everybody up. And even if he doesn't get there, you know, if it goes out for a goal kick or something, which I don't think many did on Sunday, we were pretty good with actually finding him. It just gets everybody further forward. And yeah, he was good.
The two star turns then in terms of the ratings were Aronson, who got man of the match, 7.58, and Rasmus just behind, 7.55. A couple of nominations for both of those. Aronson in particular, House of Stoats / Stouts picked Aronson for being fantastic, just going forward, dragging people out of position, being a nuisance, chopping the ball out of players defensively multiple times, controlled the game. Can't wait to sell him next summer. God bless that Leeds United cynicism.
He'll be here as long as... Well, actually, I mean, the history with him and Rasmus, who have been nominated together, was the running joke at Red Bull was that Christensen didn't like him.
Right.
So it was just like, I can't stand this kid. He's always annoying me. And that was why it was a beautiful moment when Aronson tried to do like a chest bump with him, but stopped about a foot in front of him and then
Terrified.
settled for just kind of turning away and going, whoa, yeah, yeah.
Was that the bit in the first half where Aronson chased the ball down and then got really like fired up about it?
Yeah, he got like kind of clotheslined in the face by Martinelli and then went down and got up and was like trying to go chest to chest with Rasmus. He was like, yeah. And I've not had the time to write it all down this week, but I wanted to. He's just such a cutie when he's angry.
He weighs about 8 stone as well, doesn't he? So he's just got zero physical threat about
8
it.
stone when soaking wet.
I started marching off looking all tough and fired up and I was just giggling. It's like, come on.
Yeah, Bamford gets a few nominations, people backing him much in the same way that the Ellen Road crowd did at full time and sang his name as well, which I think is there's a nice togetherness about that. And all we want is just for him to find the net and then everyone's happy.
And he did.
Yeah.
Referee fucking stole one off him, didn't he?
It's true.
That he should have.
Should have had a hat trick.
He's waiting for the other thing. And I don't know if I think it will be on his mind because Bamford tracks these things, but it's going to be his 100th goal, isn't it? So that doesn't help. Of all the goals to have to wait, like that you want to score on your comeback from, you know, a year out and all the pressure on you and everybody writing you off and saying you're going to be coming back and are your legs actually all right? And then you're stuck on 99 goals as well for a striker who I think does keep an eye on, kind of pays attention to numbers and things and status and, you know, the things that you do when you are a goal scorer. He needs that goal and he scored it.
Yep.
He did everything he needed to do to score that goal within 30 seconds of coming on the pitch as well. So he's a hero in my eyes.
Bastards, aren't
Didn't
they?
think I'd be saying that
It's the FA
in
conspiracy.
2018.
It's the FA conspiracy, isn't it? Rachel wants to give a nod at the other end of the pitch. The big sexy pirate and the big sexy pilot. Now, I wish I'd thought of that. Talking about Strauch and Koch. Top class defenders with top class moustaches. The calm and consistent performers in the team this season. Absolutely.
It's interesting. Koch's nominations pretty much all come from people saying he needs some recognition. He wasn't the best player in this game, but he's just dead good every week.
Yeah.
So give him some love.
Yep.
And this is it. Well done. Is that not enough for you?
Yeah. Quickly give a mention to Sinistera before we pick a winner, because he was, again, very, very good and just has the ability to turn into space just in a way that, you know, he's just got that little bit of magic in his feet.
He looks dangerous, doesn't he? That shot was pretty far wide that he had in the first half, but it was still a decent effort. And
he should have scored as well.
The more he does of those. So the one in the first half, we drilled it wide, and then there was the one, I think we might have been called for offside in the build-up when Aronson got through. If it had been an issue, he looked offside. But, booted it off Gabriel, but it wasn't a bad attempt from Sinistera. And then what was the other thing that he did? He was just good. I don't think he's going to be a good player. So
we've heard about the rankings and the scores from our TSB Plus members, but we need to crown Hero of the Week. Are we going to go against what they've suggested? Maybe do we go for Bamford? He's the yin to the yang of Rodrigo.
Did we mention Adams yet?
We didn't.
Because he gets a few nominations.
Yeah, he scored highly. He was second highest, wasn't he? Actually,
he did very well. And lots of people just said basically he's awful to play against because he is just a complete menace. And also, Thomas pointing out that he was the one standing up to Arsenal players when they were trying to upset Pat. And he tried to stamp on a man's chest, so that's good. Try harder. Yeah. I mean, if you believe Martinelli would tell you that he did. Anyway, who's your hero of the week? Do you want to give it to Bamford? For change in the attack? Controversial, because he had a fair number of villain nominations.
I feel like like as Moscow was saying, like he's a sensitive soul, is Patrick, and I feel like by backing him now, it'll give him the platform to score against Leicester.
I'm happy to give it to him. That second half performance was superb. Take the goals out. You can't do that as a striker. He's judged on goals. He played really well and was the key player in our best performance of the season so far.
And if he doesn't use this as fuel for scoring against Leicester, we'll dismantle him next week.
Fair enough.
Yeah, good. Well, there you go. Congratulations, Patrick, our hero of the week. And the week's not done yet. This is the important point, isn't it? We're recording this ahead of the Leicester game. The week's not done. Do you want to give it as a provisional hero of the week and maybe...
No, we'll give it now and then on Friday morning when we're waiting for the updates from the hospital for the scan on his his foot. Then we'll we'll send him a follow-up sympathy card.
Sorry. Yeah, okay then. We'll revisit this and we'll see whether we were right or not as well. So provisionally, congratulations.
No, he can have it. He can have it for this, and then we'll worry about next week.
Can we take it back if he lets us down?
No. I mean, how many players have we nominated? Have we awarded hero and villain?
Yeah, that's
all
true.
of them, probably at some point.
That wraps it up then for this week. We'll be back with a match ball late on bloody Thursday. Stupid Amazon fixture.
Bezos.
Yeah.
Blame Bezos.
8:15 kickoff in the UK, which is just, it's too late. I was watching it nearly at bedtime last night, and it was a shit game.
Imagine if there's another power delay. Could be finished the day after.
Whatever. Yeah, well, National Grid, you only scored 2.76 out of 10. Up your game. We'll speak to you later in the week.
The Square Ball Podcast.